Today we're going to look at composite functions. Composite functions are where we put one function through another function. They're actually really similar to question 4 that you did yesterday, but they use slightly new notation. I think you have seen it before, but we're going to recap it. However, first thing I want you to do as a starter, so I want you to pause the video and have a go at this question. So you've got f of x equals 4x squared plus 5x. I want you to find f of 2, f of 2t, f of u squared, and f of 3x plus 1. So pause the video now, please, and have a go at that. So the answers that you should have got are f of 2 is 26, f of 2t is 16t squared plus 10t. f of u squared is 4u to the 4 plus 5u squared. And f of 3x plus 1 is 36x squared plus 39x plus 9. Make sure you got those answers, please. I'm going to just go through this last one. So f of x was 4x squared plus 5x, and we wanted to find f of 3x plus 1. That means wherever there was x before, we're now putting 3x plus 1. So we're going to have 4, that doesn't change because it's nothing to do with x. X squared, the squared only applies to the x. But instead of x, we've now got 3x plus 1. So 3x plus 1 squared. Plus 5 doesn't change. But instead of x, we've now got 3x plus 1. So that's going to be 3x plus 1. We need to square this bracket, which would give us 9x squared plus 6x plus 1. And we can multiply this bracket out. Now we're going to multiply this one out. And add this one onto it. And when we simplify, we've got 36x squared, we've got 39x, and plus 9. So that's how we worked that last one out. Composite functions is very, very similar to this. Composite functions is putting a function through another function, but I'm going to show you the notation for that as well. I said in the last lesson that a function doesn't necessarily have to be f of x. We can have f of x, but we can also have g of x, we can have h of x, we can have any letter here to denote a function. What this means is f is the actual function, but f of x shows us what the function does when we put x through this. So if we had f of x equals x squared plus 2, that shows us that when we put x through the function f, we have x squared plus 2. The function f squares whatever is in the brackets and adds 2 to it. But f on its own doesn't mean anything. I can't just use f on its own. I need to put something through the function. So f should be followed by some brackets. If f is followed by g of x, for example, so if I had f g of x, like I said, f does not exist on its own. This is not the same as f of x times g of x. If we were doing f of x times g of x, we'd have to do this. f g of x means that we've put x through g first of all, so we've done g of x, and then we've put whatever comes out of g of x through f. So I'm going to do an example now to show you what I mean. So if f of x equals 3x minus 2 and g of x equals x squared plus 1, then we're going to find g of f of x. G f of x is the same as g of f of x. So we're going to replace f of x first of all. We know that f of x is 3x minus 2. So where we had f of x, we can replace it with 3x minus 2. Now we need to put 3x minus 2 through the function g. The function g takes what's in the brackets, squares it, and adds 1. So we're going to take what's in the brackets, we're going to square it, and we're going to add 1. If we do that, we are going to have 9x squared minus 2 lots of 6x plus 4, and then plus that 1. So we'll have plus 5. You should be able to do this bit. It's just expanding a quadratic and simplifying. So you should get 9x squared minus 12x plus 5. So that is g of f of x. If we wanted to do a value going through the function, so g of f of 3, for example, there's two ways we could do that. We just found g of f of x, so we know that g of f of x is 9x squared minus 12x plus 5. We could work out g of f of 3 by just substituting in here. So that would give me g of f of 3 is 9 times 3 squared, which is 9, minus 12 times 3 plus 5. And if we work that out in our calculators, we would get 50. So we could find, if we wanted g of f of 3, we could find g of f of x first and then substitute 3 in. Alternatively, we could do g of f of 3. So f, in case you've forgotten, was 3x minus 2. So I could do g of 3 times x, which is 3, minus 2, which gives me g of 7. And then g was x squared plus 1. G of 7 will be 7 squared plus 1, which again would give you 50. So it's the same answer. So you could find g of f of x first and then substitute 3 in, or you can put 3 through f and then put that answer through g and get to it that way. So going back to the original two functions, which were f of x equals 3x minus 2 and g of x equals x squared plus 1, I now want you to pause the video and have a go at working out f of g of x. So pause the video, have a go, and then unpause it and I'll go through the answer. So f of g of x means we're doing f of g of x, and g of x is x squared plus 1. We're now doing f of this. F takes what's in the brackets, it multiplies it by 3, and then it subtracts 2. So your final answer should be 3x squared plus 1. That is enough to do questions 1, 2, 3 and 4. I'm now going to do an example that should help you do question 5. If you want to do the first 4 questions first, then pause the video here, do those, and then play it again to do question 5. In the last question, we did f of g of x. We could actually put a function through another function as many times as we liked. We could have f of g of 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 x if we really wanted to. So in this example, we are doing a triple function. So we're doing f of g of f of x. We do exactly the same method as before. We work from the inside out. So we're going to do this one first. Then we're going to do this one. And then we will put that through f. So I've still got f and g here. And I'm going to plug in f of x. F of x is just x squared. Okay, so that was pretty easy. Now I'm going to put x squared through g, so I'm doing this. So I've still got f. G of x squared. G takes whatever is in the brackets, multiplies it by 2 and subtracts it from 7. So g of x squared is still going to be 7 minus 2 and then whatever is in the brackets, which is x squared. So last bit then is just to put this 7 minus 2x squared, which is g of f of x, back through f. F takes what is in the brackets and it squares it. So I need to square what's in these brackets. I could multiply that out, but it's going to get messy. So actually, I am just going to leave that as my final answer. So f of g of f of x is 7 minus 2x squared, all squared. And that should be enough for you to do question 5. So please have a go at all the questions 1 to 5. Let me know if you get stuck on any of them and I'll record a video going through the ones you find difficult.